puja,
Yes,
the prayers part of it.
yeah.
So we'll start with the school prayer. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha. Om Tatsaviturvarenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo nah prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha. Om Tatsaviturvarenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo nah prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha. Om Tatsaviturvarenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo nah prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Asatoma Sadgamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shall we wait for a couple of minutes? We start at 10:05.
10:05 we can start.
10:05
Yeah.
we'll just start slowly, maybe because of the change of time and date.
Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah.
And some people may not be free today, so that's also
Yes.
possibility. Yeah. Krishna Paniji, I don't know if I posted this on the Bhagavad. Vijay had posted on the Bhagavad Gita group.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah.
Very
So
interesting.
very, very interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know if all the participants have seen it. It's on the Bhagavad Gita chat group. Please have a look at it. It's very, very interesting. It's about a doctor and how she actually, experiences what she calls nirvana.
Yeah. See, the whole point is when the left side brain becomes silent, the other one would automatically come into being.
Right.
See, the left brain, the logical, the methodical, the analytical brain will always dominate, and therefore it creates this problem.
Right.
And because of that, the other one will not be able to come into action.
And she so beautifully describes the left brain as literally the mind.
Yes.
Past is
Exactly. No, see, that is why I'll come to that when we talk about JK.
Yeah.
See why he insisted upon certain things. We'll come to that. Well, I don't want to go into another subject today.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
So just for everybody's information, Krishnapani ji is talking about J. Krishnamurti on Friday. It will be an interesting discussion on J. Krishnamurti, the man and his message.
Okay. I think we are about
we can
13, 14 of us are there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can start, and I'll share this screen. Choose the one. Okay. Oh, sorry. The 40th verse says, Rupavarnadikam sarvam vihaya paramarthavit paripurna chidananda swarupena avastishthate. He who has attained the supreme goal discards all such objects as name and form and dwells as the embodiment of infinite consciousness and bliss. See, he is talking about the state of a person who has actually known the truth. Earlier, he was talking about merging the whole objective world into the Atman and constantly think of that Atman, and the example that is given is like a stainless sky, Nirmala Akashavat Sada. Now here he is talking about a slightly different dimension to it. For a person who has realized the truth, that is a Paramarthavit. The term used is Paramarthavit. One who has known the Paramartha, one who has realized the ultimate meaning of the whole thing, for such a person, he would automatically drop all objects associated with name and form and etc. And he would be in a state of Chit and Ananda, that pure consciousness and pure bliss. And he has used the term Paripurna. Paripurna means plenum, complete in all respects, totality. And that's why it is also translated as infinite. He is of the very nature of that Chit and Ananda, Swarupa. He is of the very nature of that Swarupa, the Chit and Ananda, and he dwells in it. Now, see, it may appear strange. See, why are you talking about a person who has already realized? How is it relevant to us? But the point to be realized is, as we said earlier in the previous verse, it is a question of realizing the very nature of manifestation in this phenomenal world. Once you realize the nature or understand the nature of this phenomenal world, it has no hold on you any longer. It does not hold you in any manner. And in a way, it loses its loses its relevance, and it becomes irrelevant. Another thing which we have also discussed is, how do we go beyond this variety, beyond this infinite variety which we find in manifestation? How we go behind that and perceive the unity? No, see, the point is, the phenomenal world, we cannot wish it away. It has its own place and it has its own purpose. But one needs to go beyond it to come to the truth. So such a person who has, literally the term used is merged. I said last time, I said merged may not be the right term, but the pravilapya means that the idea is that it loses its relevance and it loses its hold on you. You are no longer a captive of that. Whereas now we are a captive of the phenomenal world. Once you come out of it, you become a paramarthavit. You become a person who has actually realized the true meaning and purpose of the whole manifestation and the truth behind the manifestation. Now, what will happen to such a person? He would automatically give up all association with name and form. Name and form has no validity for him. See, the whole understanding should come from the creation of limitation by this process which we call as thought. The very process of thought is a limiting factor, and it can only operate through limitation. And if we allow that factor to dominate, only that will prevail. Thought, language, objectification of the external world, naming and forming, attraction and repulsion, somehow being caught in that, in the naming and describing of it, and being attracted or repulsed by the form, all that would automatically drop. And what would happen to a paramarthavit? What would happen to a person who has gone beyond? The verse says that such a person would be in a state of infinite consciousness and infinite bliss. That would be his natural state of being. See, there is also a possibility of mistaking that this is something progressive. That you try to see the objectification of the world and the temporary nature of the phenomenal world, which is always changing and mutating, and there is a lot of uncertainty associated with it, and the inconsistency of it. And then later on you see that it is only name and form, and then you progress to becoming. No, it's not that way. There is no progression here, because you are going into a totally different dimension, which is what we would call as a kind of a quantum leap that is happening. A quantum leap is happening. So you are literally going into a totally different dimension, which is unknown to the world in which we operate normally, which we are calling as the phenomenal world. Phenomenal world is a world of name and form. Now, these are also again descriptions. Let us not be enamored by the description of infinite consciousness and infinite bliss. See, what happens is, how can the mind come to some understanding of something which is completely and totally of a different dimension itself? But the beauty of it is, there is a link between that truth and this phenomenal world. Therefore, this phenomenal world is also imbued with that spirit of that ultimate reality. And the nature of that ultimate reality has been described as Sat, Chit and Ananda. So, in a diluted form, you will find that Sat, Chit and Ananda operating down below also. And down below, we know what is happiness, what is pleasure, what is comfort, what gives a kind of satisfaction to our senses. Those things are all known to us. Now, in order to make the mind understand in some form or the other, I will ask you a question and say, what is it that gives you maximum pleasure? Suppose you say that it gives me immense pleasure in eating something good. Then, in order to impress upon you the nature of this infinite bliss, I would compare and say, if this particular thing gives you the maximum pleasure, now imagine something multiplied 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times or 1,000,000,000 times than that. So it is mind-boggling. My whole purpose is to create a situation of mind-boggling whereby you say, oh, is it so? So this is something unimaginably more pleasurable, unimaginably more happy. That means it will give me more happiness. So that is of importance to me now. It is only to change the direction of your movement into a realm or towards a realm where all these things become totally irrelevant, inconsequential, and they would not have any attraction for me. So that is the reason why they say he dwells in that as the embodiment of infinite consciousness and bliss. Paripurna is infinite. Chit is consciousness. Ananda is bliss. Swarupa is embodiment. Avatisthate is he dwells in it. Per se, this description has no meaning to me. Per se, this description does not really convey anything to the mind, except a vague understanding of that there is a state where what I know as pleasure is infinitely more. Except that conceptual clarity in some form, it doesn't give me any benefit. It may mislead also. In fact, most of the religions, when they created these kind of descriptions, it has created havoc in the minds of the gullible. So they imagined that that is a place where one can reach with all this baggage. With all this baggage, we thought that they will be able to reach, which is a fallacy. See, for example, even those people who are very dear to us, very close to us, are after all human like us. And the moment you die, don't expect them to go into a realm which is totally different from this, and then they stay permanently in heaven or the Swargaloka or Brahmaloka. That doesn't make any sense. A fellow who has been very ordinary here doesn't suddenly become divine there. The whole point to be understood is that this whole scheme of things as we see, if we see the fallacy of it, not that I am seeing because somebody is pointing out to me. No, it doesn't make any sense. Whoever may point out to anything. Does it really mean something to me? Is it real to me? Do I see the phenomenal world, the nature of this phenomenal world? Do I see that directly and unambiguously? That is what matters. Whoever may say whatever he likes. But unless that perception is there, you cannot take that quantum leap out of this. That is the fundamental aspect to be recognized here. Because he is talking about A person who has attained the supreme goal, see, a fellow who has attained the supreme goal, in what way am I connected to him, or he is connected to me? Except as a means of describing certain things. That is where the problem comes. See, if you superficially read only the statement made in this verse and the translation of it, it absolutely doesn't convey anything, and there is a great possibility of being misled by it. Do you see that? And that is the reason why we need to have what is called as an intuitive appreciation of it. Okay. Yes, please. There seems to be some. Kindly mute the participants, including.
I think Aniket.
Aniket.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, can you make somebody as the host so that you can take care of your other activities? Okay. So, do we see that now? Do we see that? That's what I want to discuss before I move further. If there is any particular point to be made, let us see that, so that there is clarity in our understanding that all this is only description. Okay. Shall we proceed further? Have I made myself clear that just because he talks about a Paramarthavit, that means one who has realized the ultimate truth, and that he would firmly establish himself and dwell in the very nature of infinite consciousness and bliss, has no relevance to our understanding unless we are able to very clearly and in very unambiguous terms able to see the very nature of the phenomenal world. It is bound to happen this way. Anything can happen. And the mind doesn't reconcile to these things. Look at the nature of the mind also. Looking at the nature of the mind is also important for us. How it's caught in this web of name and form, attraction and repulsion, likes and dislikes, pleasure and pain. How it creates this dichotomy, this duality. And that it is always fleeting, it is always changing, it's always moving. And it is impermanent. And there is a lot of uncertainty associated with it. Please remember what I have been saying about the ICU. We are always in the ICU. Impermanence, change, and uncertainty. Nothing is permanent. Even whatever is there which is impermanent, does it remain constant? No, it doesn't remain constant. It keeps on changing. But okay, it keeps on changing. Do we know to what does it change, or what is the next thing that is coming about? We are not certain about it. So we are in this uncertainty. So if we realize that we are always in the ICU, then the fallacy of it will hit us. We'll be able to see the fallacy of the whole thing. So the alternative to is to just let things be. Let the phenomenal world continue in its own way. I don't give any importance to it. I don't participate in the process. It doesn't make any sense to me to be an active partner in that whole process. So as Krishnamurti used to say, when thought becomes silent, the intelligence will operate and it will tell you how to operate in any situation. You need not decide or come to some conclusion and say, this is how I'm going to be, this is what it is, and how this is how it is going to operate. No.
Krishnapani,
yeah, please.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on the word dwells?
Avatisthate means, see, the point is, you are in that state.
Yeah.
It means that you are in that state. So you are in that state of Chidananda.
Right. So it's a constant dwelling in that state.
There's no constant. It is beyond time.
It's beyond.
It is timeless.
Yeah. Right.
See, for the purpose of the mental understanding, they use all these terms.
Right.
Because the mind cannot understand anything concerned about the timeless. Anything which is beyond space and time and causation, it cannot understand at all. So in order to counter that impermanence, I will use the term permanent or constant or everlasting and so and so.
Okay.
And because the thought is always able to see only in a fragmented manner, very limited and partial expressions of things, I posit a counterpoint to it and say it is infinite, it is complete, it is total, as against the fragments we see here. So it's only, again, these words are, we are continuing to play in the phenomenal world with words, because there is no other means to communicate. How do I communicate something to you? So these are these statements have to be understood from an intuitive perception, and not allow too much of this analytical aspect to dominate it, because any amount of analysis is not going to lead you there.
Right.
The futility of the whole mental process has to be understood. Okay, then we'll go to the next one. He is talking about the triplicity. Jnatru jnana jneya bhedaha pare natmani vidyate chidanandaika rupatvad deepyate swayameva tat. The Supreme Self, on account of its being of the nature of exceeding bliss, does not admit of the distinction of the knower knowledge and the object of knowledge. It alone shines. Only in the manifested world do we see this triplicity. We see the triplicity of the knower, the object of knowledge, and the process of knowledge. Jnatru jnana jneya bhedaha pare natmani vidyate. What is there? Chidanandaika rupatvad deepyate swayameva tat. There is a point to be made here. See, in the tradition, what is normally done is you anticipate the objection or the question of an opponent and answer it in the form of an explanation or a verse, so that the questioner is preempted from asking the question. Here what the Shastra, how they deal with it is, okay sir, now you are a Paramarthavit. You have realized the truth and you are dwelling in that infinite consciousness and bliss. Then is it something which is totally unknown, totally dark, completely void? What happens to the knower? Because down below, the process of understanding anything is that there should be a knower and there should be an object to be known, And the link between the knower and the object to be known is a process which is called as the knowledge, jnana. This triputi is there always. This triputi is always there in manifestation. 1 minute. Hello? Hello? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Mr. Panji, yes.
Sorry, in between I had to mute myself because I was talking to somebody.
No, we can hear you.
Okay. So, you are trying to preempt the questioner and say that in that state, you need nothing else. That itself is an illumination or a state of illumination. And again, by description and by definition, the illumination is such that it is beyond darkness. Generally, when down below, when we see anything which we talk about as illumination is limited, and there is another dimension to it which is darkness. That's why the Upanishad says tamasah parastat. It is beyond tamas. It is beyond darkness. There is nothing like darkness there at all. And what shines is that supreme self alone, the Atman alone. And it is Swayam Prakasha. It doesn't need anything else to illuminate it. It is of the nature of illumination. It is illumination itself and operates in that illumination. Like again, a standard or what we call as a typical example of the given in this phenomenal world is, does the sun require another object to illuminate it? No. The sun is self-illuminating. That means it gives not only the illumination to the whole world, but it illumines itself also. Because it is of the nature of illumination. So that is the meaning. Deepyate swayameva tat. It illuminates itself, it alone shines, and it does not admit any discrimination. There is no discrimination of the triplicity, which is important here in order to come to know of anything. There is what is called these triplicities. Number of these triplicities, different terms are used in the traditional literature. One of them is this Jnatru, Jnana, Jneya. Jnata or Jnatru means the knower. Jneya is that which is to be known, the object of knowledge, and Jnana is that link between the two, whereby the knower knows about the object to be known. Now, all these three are irrelevant in that state of realization of the ultimate reality. There is no knower, there is no object to be known, there is no process of knowing also. All the three are merged into one, and there is only one entity which is self-illuminating, which is nothing other than the Atman, which is of the nature of Chidanandaika Rupa. His only form or only expression is Chidananda. Because it is of that nature, and it alone shines, and you don't require anything else to establish its identity. So the differentiation between the three aspects for the purpose of acquisition of knowledge is no longer valid there. The validity of that knowledge is not there because we are not seeking that knowledge. Now, a distinction is being made by the commentator here between what is called as Savikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. I would not like to go into it because, see, what is called as Samadhi technically is something which operates at different levels. Can you just hold on for a minute? నేను వేరే మీటింగ్ లో ఉన్నా. This is what happens on a working day. Somebody or the other keeps disturbing. Okay, so the process of knowledge which we are talking about down below has no validity, and technically in the Yoga Shastra, Samadhi is said to happen at different levels. The Yoga Sutra talks about Vitarka, Vichara, Ananda, Asmitanugamat, Samprajnatah. There is a what we call as gradation in it. That gradation is only where things are becoming subtler and subtler and subtler. Because it's not so easy to transcend the mind. In the sense, what happens there is, when we have dealt with what is conscious, what is there in our conscious mind, what is there in the subconscious will come up now. What is hidden will come up now. So the subconscious will become conscious. Then after the subconscious, the unconscious will become the conscious. Then beyond that, what happens is the samskaras, the vasanas, the various propensities with which we are born, they also become clear. So you have to deal with everything at every level. You have to deal with all these things and go beyond that. So that is precisely what we are talking about in the technical process involved in yoga. But here I will not go into the Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa Samadhi because that's a subject by itself. That's a topic by itself, where from the point of view of that ultimate reality, this triplicity, which is the means and the process for acquisition of any form of experience or knowledge, becomes irrelevant there. That's what we need to be very clear about what we are talking. Okay. So now, shall we go to the 42nd? Or any point to be discussed? Shall I stop sharing for some time to enable discussion? Anybody would like to raise any point up to the on the subject which we have discussed till now?
Krishna, we talked about the knower, the knowledge, and the object to be perceived. This is, we need our, it's actually related to our senses and our mind, both of which are irrelevant, right?
I think there's an issue with
Yeah. I will wait for him to come back. Maybe his power is gone. That I think they have lots of power failures also. Go to this WebEx again. I just spoke with Krishnapani ji. He's connecting through his mobile, so his net is gone. So, as we suspected, there. We can't see you. Yes, we can see you. Yes, we can see you, Krishnapani ji, but just say something because I think it's slow at your end. Yes, please go ahead. Yes, we can see you, but the audio. Krishnapani ji,
why
the
is
audio
that your voice is not your voice?
So is yours, Krishnapani ji. I think you may have a bad connection.
Yeah, now slightly better. I'm able to hear you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. You
Okay.
can see me also.
No, we can't see you, but that's fine. We can hear you. Yeah. I was asking a question, but can you hear me? Can you hear me, Krishnapani ji?
Yeah, but your voice. Yes.
Krishnapani ji, I'll just call you because I'll tell you what the problem is. Krishnapani ji?
Yeah. Okay. I through my net is net.
Krishnapani ji, it's not working well. We can't hear you clearly. It's cutting off. Would you like to close it and then we can do it next week? Can everybody else hear me?
Yes, madam. Shall I
Yes,
try to call?
yes, Meena, you are clear. Yes,
Okay,
clear.
then,
We can hear
then I
you.
think it's on Krishnapani ji's side then because he's also not able to hear me. So I think there's a problem with his connection.
I think the problem should be
We
with
then
him
just
inside.
close. We've done 2 verses today. I think maybe we should just close and we can continue. Not next Monday. I think Krishnapani ji is traveling. So maybe we can do it. I will put it on the group and let you know. I think he suggested another date. So we'll do it on that particular date. But I will put it again on the group. And following these 2 sessions that we've had out of the usual norm, we are going to revert back to the Sundays. So just keep that in mind. Okay? All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Will somebody say Loka Samasta and we can close? Hinaji?
Yeah.
Thank you.
गोब्रह्मण्येन शुभमस्तु नित्यम् समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः सुखिनो समस्तलोकाः
Hello.
ॐ Namaha. Hari Om.
Krishnapani ji, we are having a lot of with the connection, so we thought maybe we should pause and do it next week.
Oh yes, no problem. Now you are able to hear me, at least voice.
Clearly now.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
some
but I
people
think,
have left. Yeah.
but I think when I share start my video or something, the bandwidth is going off.
Okay. But Krishnapani ji, there are only 13 of us left. I think some people left because we couldn't get through to you. So I said, let's close and then we've done 2 verses today and we can actually continue next week then. If anybody has questions amongst us, we can ask Krishnapani ji. And I had a question, Krishnapani ji. I was asking you that the knower, knowledge and object to be perceived is all related to our senses. Everything external to us in the outside world, right? Yeah. And then we have our mind. And all of these things seem to be totally irrelevant in the larger perspective. Right?
Wonder if Krishnapani is.
I think we can't hear Krishnapani ji.
Yeah.
Krishnapani ji? No, it's a very bad connection today. I think we should not pursue this further. Krishnapani ji? I'm just sending a message to
Connect
everybody.
next time.
Yes, let's connect next time. This is a bad connection. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
We've done Loka Samasta. So thank you all for being here.